Ecclesiastes Chapter Summaries, 1-12. Published by Bible Vise. The book of Ecclesiastes is one of the wisdom books in the Bible, traditionally attributed to King Solomon. These Ecclesiastes chapter summaries provide a concise and comprehensive overview of the main themes and messages of this profound and philosophical book inspired by God. When you are done reading here, you may also want to check out our complete list of Bible chapter summaries for every book of the Bible. Book of Ecclesiastes Summary by Chapter. Chapter 1. The Meaninglessness of Life. The author introduces himself as the son of David and the king of Jerusalem, and calls himself the teacher, or preacher in some Bible versions. He declares that everything is meaningless, as human life is full of toil and nothing is new under the sun. He describes his quest for wisdom, but finds it too elusive and burdensome. Reader more. Ecclesiastes Chapter 1 Summary. Chapter 2. The Futility of Pleasure and Wisdom. The teacher recounts his experiments with pleasure, such as wine, wealth, power, and entertainment, but finds them all unsatisfying and vain. He also reflects on his achievements in wisdom, but realizes that it does not give him any advantage over the fool, as both will die and be forgotten. He concludes that there is nothing better than to enjoy the fruits of one's labor, but this too is a gift from God. Reader more. Ecclesiastes Chapter 2 Summary. Chapter 3. The Time for Everything and the Judgment of God. The teacher observes that there is a time and season for everything under heaven, such as birth, death, love, hate, war, and peace. He also acknowledges that God has made everything beautiful in its time, and has put eternity in the human heart, but humans cannot fathom his work. He affirms that God will judge the righteous and the wicked, and that there is nothing better than to rejoice and do good in life. Chapter 4. The Oppression, Envy, and Loneliness of Man. The teacher laments the oppression, injustice, and terrors that he sees among people, and considers the dead and the unborn better off than the living. He also denounces the vanity of envy, greed, and idleness, and praises the value of friendship, cooperation, and wisdom. He gives an example of a poor but wise youth who becomes a king but is not remembered. Chapter 5. The Fear of God and the Vanity of Wealth. The teacher advises to be careful with words and vows when approaching God, and to fear him rather than making rash promises. He also warns against the vanity of wealth, which can bring trouble, dissatisfaction, anxiety, and loss. He reiterates that the enjoyment of one's work and possessions is a gift from God, and that God will not let the righteous be in need. Reader more. Ecclesiastes Chapter 5 Summary. Chapter 6. The Unsatisfied Life and the Unknown Future. The teacher describes a situation of a man who has everything he could wish for, but cannot enjoy it or leave it to his heirs, and considers this a great evil. He also questions the value of wisdom, knowledge, and skill, as they do not guarantee happiness or success. He asserts that humans do not know what is good for them or what will happen after them, and that they cannot contend with God. Reader more. Ecclesiastes Chapter 6 Summary. Chapter 7. The Contrast Between Wisdom and Folly. The teacher compares and contrasts wisdom and folly in various aspects of life, such as reputation, death, mourning, patience, anger, and integrity. He also gives some proverbs and counsels about wisdom, such as avoiding extremes, seeking advice, learning from the past, and accepting God's plan. He confesses that he has not found the perfect woman or the perfect man, and that God made humans upright but they have gone astray. Chapter 8. The Mystery of God's Justice and Man's Destiny. The teacher commends the value of wisdom, which can make one's face shine and change one's hard appearance. He also gives some instructions and observations about kings, justice, and wickedness, such as obeying the king's command, avoiding evil, and trusting God's timing. He acknowledges that there is a time for judgment, but also that there is a mystery in God's justice and man's destiny, as the righteous and the wicked seem to share the same fate. Reader more. Ecclesiastes Chapter 8 Summary. Chapter 9. The Uncertainty of Life and the Certainty of Death. The teacher repeats that the righteous and the wicked have the same fate, and that this is an evil under the sun. He also states that the dead have no hope, and that the living should enjoy their life, love, and work, as this is their portion from God. He gives some examples and illustrations of wisdom and folly, such as the wisdom of a poor man who saves a city, and the folly of a lazy man who ruins his house. Reader more. Ecclesiastes Chapter 9 Summary. Chapter 10. The Consequences of Wisdom and Folly. The teacher gives various proverbs and analogies to show the consequences of wisdom and folly, such as the effects of a little folly, the dangers of foolish rulers, the troubles of foolish workers, and the perils of foolish words. He also gives some advice and warnings about wisdom, such as preparing for the future, avoiding rash actions, and respecting the king. Reader more. Ecclesiastes Chapter 10 Summary. Chapter 11. The Advice for a Meaningful Life. The teacher gives some advice for a meaningful life, such as being generous, diligent, and cheerful, and enjoying one's youth and vigor. He also cautions against being too cautious, too wicked, or too righteous, and reminds that God will judge everything. He urges to remember the Creator in the days of one's youth, before the days of trouble come. Chapter 12. The Conclusion of the Matter. The teacher describes the signs of old age and the approach of death, using various metaphors and images, such as the darkening of the sun, the breaking of the pitcher, and the return of the dust. He also reveals the nature and purpose of his words, which are like goads and nails from a shepherd. He finally concludes that the whole duty of man is to fear God and keep his commandments, for God will bring every deed into judgment.